Merci Jérôme, bonjour à tous. Je suis très heureux d'être parmi vous aujourd'hui. Merci de m'accueillir et de m'offrir l'occasion de partager quelques réflexions sur l'avenir de notre secteur d'activité. I would love to continue in French, but I will spare you. And instead, I just want to say good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege to be here. And if you'll indulge me, I would like to thank Madame Roch, Madame Bleu, and Monsieur Smith, my French teachers from long ago. You see, when I was a young man and a boy, I had the privilege of spending a few summers here in France, where I fell in love with the language, the people, and the country. And when I was a little bit older, I came back as a reporter in training for the Los Angeles Times in the spring of 1985. I worked on the Champs-Élysées. It was a dream. I got all kinds of sexy assignments, like covering the European Parliament and Jean-Marie Le Pen's early campaigns. But my claim to journalistic fame, this is the truth, is that I covered a certain canine crisis in Paris in the spring of 1985. You see, the dogs of Paris at that time were making a total mess of the sidewalks of the city. And so I covered the story, and I wrote up a little feature that ended up on the front page of the Los Angeles Times somehow. That was a version of yellow journalism, my father said to me. Ba-dum-bump. Another reason that I'm delighted to be here is that some of you may know there is a small town in the north of France, a town called Désigny-sur-Mer. It's in Normandy. It has a population of 2,900, and a small family lived there. And over the course of many, many years, this family traveled to England, to Canada, and finally to the United States and Chicago, ultimately settling in a place called Marceline, Missouri. All the time as they traveled, they carried with them a pride in their French ancestry and their French surname. They were from Isigny, abbreviated Désigny, which eventually shortened to Disney. I know. That story is true. And if it weren't, we might have made it up in order to ingratiate ourselves to the French. I actually hope you all see that story as a positive tale about Disney's roots in France and not a negative story about Americans corrupting a lovely French name. I stand here today representing 10,000 Disney ABC employees around the world, and we believe in a commitment to the very best storytelling and to serving global audiences is more important than ever. And today, everywhere we turn, we face profound challenge and uncertainty and certainly disruption around the world. It's felt very deeply here in France, where the events of the past year, from the Bataclan to the Promenade des Anglais, not far from here, have stunned and shaken and galvanized the world. In my home country, the United States, our tumultuous presidential election reflects these complicated times. And with so much talk of building borders and walls, we believe, as storytellers, that we would do well to remember our global heritage and our traditions. We should remember that we are not just Disney, we are Désigny. We should meet this unsettled moment by doing what we have always done best, creating connection and understanding through the unifying power of great storytelling. In this particular time, and also across the decades at Disney ABC, our offerings on the little screen are like an invitation to entertain, to inspire, to surprise, to see the world as it is, and also to see the world as it could be. Don't get me wrong. To borrow from a great French writer, I'm not here to suggest that we live in the best of all possible worlds. Everyone in this room, absolutely all of you know the change and the pressure that our businesses face. The shifting habits of our viewers, the fragmentation of the audience, the squeeze on advertising dollars and on subscription fees, and the mind-blowing impact of technology. For the first time, consumers around the world this year will spend more time watching videos on their mobile devices than they will on desktops and on smart TVs. In fact, more people around the world own a cell phone than a toothbrush. That's good news for our business, and apparently it's very good news for dentists. More young children play computer games than can ride a bike, or tie their shoes, or swim. And more video is uploaded onto YouTube in a 60-day period than the 3 major US television networks created in their first 60 years. In fairness, a lot of that is dogs on surfboards and kids opening toys, but a lot of that video is quite good, and it's getting even better. And in the United States alone, there are now more than 25 different ways to watch a single episode of our television. Some of those ways are quite ingenious, some of those ways are quite devious, but that's all opposed to the one way that we used to consume television in America. So while these are daunting challenges, we at Disney ABC are optimists for 2 reasons. The first is our commitment to making the very best stories is even greater than ever. While some worry or complain about the future of TV and reaching peak TV, we believe there is an almost unlimited appetite and audience for truly great television that transcends borders and that spans continents. French critic and thinker Roland Barthes, who many of us read in college, said this in 1966 about the possibilities of television. Les récits du monde sont innombrables, he said. The stories and narratives of the world are innumerable, uncountable. And we at Disney ABC agree. The stories of the world are indeed uncountable with one small addition. We believe great narratives are innumerable. The second reason for our optimism is that we are partnering with so many of you in this room and across Cannes in this conference, focused relentlessly on improving how and where we deliver these great stories in ways that are easy and accessible. Our formula is quite simple. The best content delivered in the most efficient and personalized ways will win. France is no stranger to change and to disruption. In fact, many of you probably know that the word itself, television, was coined in 1900 at the World Fair in Paris. That's when a Russian scientist named Konstantin Persky used the word television for the first time. He imagined the possibilities and potential of a technology that could transmit images and connect people separated by long distances with stories of the future. Many of us wonder, sometimes worry about the future of television, but we at Disney ABC believe deeply in the still untapped potential of television in its truest sense to transcend borders, to project images across great distances, and to bring people of the world together. We are proud of the 24,000 hours of original content that is seen by more than 1 billion people every year around the world. And it's distributed on screens from Laos to Liechtenstein. We're proud that Disney ABC stories reflect the reality of the world around us and the world as it could be. Stories that embrace the diversity of the people of the world and the freshness of their viewpoints. Stories that offer new perspectives on the human condition. We love that there are women in Latin America who now see themselves in the pantheon of Disney princesses and aspire to be just as strong and as smart and as funny as Disney Channel's new Elena of Avalor. We love that there are families in the Middle East and around the world who see their struggle reflected in the groundbreaking partnership between ABC News and Marvel in a comic book collaboration called Medaya Mom, about a heroic mother of 5 trapped in Syria, cut off from the world, who each day fights to protect her family. We love that there are communities around the world that see the authentic portrayal of the struggles and joys that they face in Freeform's critically acclaimed series, The Fosters, and we love the Disney Channel series Violetta, produced in Latin America, now worldwide, and airing in more than 130 countries, a true global sensation. And I want to just say this, we intend to develop and produce even more original local content in many of our key territories. Best of all, we love that there are millions upon millions of young people around the world who want to grow up to be a doctor just like Meredith Grey, and there's so many others who want to be the genius behind the scenes, Shonda Rhimes. It was just 12 years ago, I was the producer of Good Morning America on ABC, when I had the privilege of meeting a young writer named Shonda. Before McDreamy, before McSteamy, she was just Shonda. and she and the cast of a new show called Grey's Anatomy had come to Good Morning America to talk about their new series. Little did we know then. Tomorrow, we recognize Shonda as the Mipcom Personality of the Year. And of course, she's more than just a personality. By the end of this year, Shonda and her team will have delivered more than 588 episodes of television around the world, into more than 300 million homes and across 250 territories in 67 languages. And every one of those minutes, deeply compelling, insanely addictive, and high-octane fun. Twists and turns and characters who make you want to grab an oversized glass of red wine and eat popcorn. In France, quelle horreur. Her shows have won dozens of awards, Peabody's, Golden Globes. She's been named one of Time Magazine's most influential people. Fortune magazine called her one of the most powerful women in business. And even President Barack Obama has said that Beyonce may run the world, but Shonda Rhimes owns Thursday night. There's a French word that does not have an equivalent in English. It's called trouvaille. It's something that you happen upon, a delightful discovery, a lucky find. Shonda Rhimes is a trouvaille. She reflects our values as a company and our future as an industry. She reminds us that great storytelling is universal and that unforgettable characters are able to travel around the world, that we can still convene millions and millions of people around a common living room or around a series of tweets. So all of us at Disney ABC, and many of us in this room, salute Shonda. We salute Betsy Beers, and we salute all of Shondaland, the whole team, on this wonderfully deserved recognition. And as we like to say, Shonda is just getting started. Finally, I want to offer an expression of humility and gratitude to many of you in the room and across Cannes. We at Disney ABC know that we do what we do only because we are partners with you, the very best in the business. Many of you are here today, and like you, we believe that the potential of video is great and growing. We know that by 2020, there'll be 6 billion smartphones around the world. We know that 4.2 billion people will be connected to the internet, and we look forward to seizing that opportunity with all of you and leading the way with all of you. Allow me to finish before the question and answers with a quick final story. Almost 100 years ago, in 1917, the world was in chaos, in the grips of a great war and fear. An ambitious and patriotic 16-year-old wanted to serve. He wanted to make a difference. And so he tried to enlist, but the US Navy said no, he was too young. So he tried a different route. He went to the Canadian Armed Forces, again, rejected, too young. And so he forged his father's signature, and he finally found a job with the Red Cross. The Red Cross sent him to be an ambulance driver right here in France, where he quickly charmed and delighted everyone that he met with his cartoons and caricatures that he drew on the ambulance. Of course, once again, this is the story of young Walt Disney, who, needless to say, had a deep connection to France. Another great storyteller once said that the power of storytelling is to bridge the gaps in this divided world. And I believe that is our charge, to transcend boundaries, to engage the most people, to touch hearts and touch minds, to restore some order with imagination, and to instill some hope. And it is an incredible challenge. It's also a great privilege. And it is a time of extraordinary opportunity.